Hey everyone, welcome back to the booth here at Createx Colors. I'm Chris Arpin, and we are going to talk about more candies. Now we're doing this video with regards to another video that we recently did with our Candy Blood Red. And what we did in that video was actually keying to a couple tech questions we had in terms of certain candy shades, how to develop a certain color of candy. And a lot of times you're kind of thinking outside the box. You're thinking maybe you have to mix some candies together to get the color that you want, where just the ground coat, that base color of what you're spraying your candy over is going to actually change that candy color. So we have a couple examples. What we're going to do for this one, we had a request actually to do Poison Green, so we're doing Poison Green. So familiar with Poison Green, this is a nice, very vivid lime green kind of a candy. This is our Poison Green over our Silver Sealer, our 6013 Silver Sealer. And this is Poison Green over our Metallic Gold. And now they look pretty similar in terms of the actual color. The Metallic Gold is a little bit warmer. It looks a little bit richer, I think, because of the tendency of that gold to bring out the yellow character, the yellow quality of that Poison Green. Where over the Silver Sealer, it's a bit colder, but it also has a really nice sparkle effect to it. So this is a really cool base coat color for the silver, for the Poison Green. Any of our candies for that matter. So we're going to spray this color. We're going to spray Poison Green. So what I have is basically this is going to be my spray out card. So we got a couple different bases here, starting with our Silver Sealer, so the 6013 Silver Sealer. Then I have our Metallic White Coarse. So the Metallic White Coarse, the reason I chose the coarse is for the same reason. It's coarse, it's got a little bit more of that metallic, that glitter effect. So that's going to really help stand out. This is our Metallic Gold. And then this is our brand new color to our Wicked line, also for this year, and that is our Metallic Charcoal, our Charcoal Metallic. So you guys can see what that looks like. This is a very cool, very clean metallic gray. There's really no pearl to it. It's just a metallic gray. It's really nice, even kind of mid-grade metallic charcoal. So I am going to go ahead and mix up some candy, and when I come back, we'll see you guys and we'll start spraying. All right, everyone, welcome back. We are on the bench here and we are ready to start mixing some candy. So real quickly, I just want to go through the ratio and why it is and what it is we're going to do. So we're using our 40-50. This is our UVLS Gloss Clear, and that's what we recommend mixing with our candy. So my ratio is pretty simple. It's 6-to-1. So that's 6 parts UVLS to 1 part candy. It works extremely well. It's right in the middle of the road in terms of a reduction. The Poison Green is a little bit lighter in color, so that seems to work extremely well for that. So I'm going to go right ahead and go to my 6 parts here. That's pretty good. And like what I was saying, if you have a darker candy color, depending on what you're doing, you can always go less candy. So you can actually do more 40-50 and less candy, and that'll kind of thin that candy out in terms of that ratio. So this is 6-to-1 right there. And I'm going to make sure that I really stir this in good. So that's kind of one of the key things when you're mixing the candy in the 40-50. Guys, if you're familiar with the 40-50, you know that it is pretty thick. It's a thicker viscosity product where the candy is extremely thin because it really is just that dye. So the reduction is actually happening with the candy. The candy is just enough to thin this 40-50 out enough that it's going to spray no problem through I'm going to use this Supernova, my Supernova with a 1-2, right around 29 PSI. And I'm not going to have to reduce this, so I'm not going to need any 4011 reducer or anything like that. I'm letting the candy kind of be my reducer for this product. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but there might be, I can see it in the back of this cup, there's a little bit of like a white ring from that 40-50, and that's kind of what we're talking about in terms of really making sure that you mix this up. Make sure that it's all nice and mixed together. So mix this for at least 2 minutes, let it sit, let everything acclimate, and while that's getting ready, we're going to go set my gun up, and we'll be back, and we'll start spraying some candy. All right, the booth is running, and we got everything tacked off, ready to spray. I let my candy sit for about 10 minutes while we got everything ready. That's kind of what we recommend, is really let that sit nice, everything acclimates, mix it one more time, give it a quick little stir, make sure, strain it. We are using the PPS 2.0 system here, and these have a 200 micron filter in the lid, so the candy is inherently very thin. So sometimes if you have little chunks of candy, sometimes you get them dried up in the cap or in the top of the bottle, it'll pass through 200 microns. So I always recommend doing a 125, which is a really, really fine mesh. So I mix my candy, strain it, and then we're ready to go. And anything left over will get caught up in that 200 that comes in the lid. So Again, we're spraying candy. We're going to probably do 4 to 6 coats depending on how the color looks. This is a little bit lighter because it's that light green, that poison green. So it'll kind of determine as we go how many more coats. So typically about 4 to 6 coats. 75% overlap. I'm using my Supernova. It's a 1-2, spraying right at 29 psi, factory recommended settings. So nice clean overlap. About 8 inches off, and I'm going to be nice and quick with my hand movement. I want nice, even spray. It's very critical to just keep everything the same distance, not in and out, nice and even with a like a medium, fast kind of a hand speed. So we're going to show you guys what that looks like. So this is coat number 1. All right, guys, coat number 1 is totally dry, and I just one of those things I wanted to touch on as well is that's really important. You can't use this product wet on wet. Any of our paints really are not best suited for doing a wet on wet or even a semi-wet application. You want it to be dry. So best performance, you want it to dry between coats. And now this is coat number 2. It's going to be the same way, same application, 75% overlap, same speed as coat number 2. While we were away, I went ahead and did the second coat and actually did a third coat. So now you're starting to really see a little bit of color coming through. And at this point, you can do one of 2 things. We can continue on, which we're going to do, or you can actually opt to increase your concentration like I talked about. You can, instead of doing 6 to 1, in 6 parts 40-50, you could go 4 parts 40-50 to 1 part candy. And what that'll do is actually just increase that concentration now that you have a nice even ground coat. And that's key, again, that having a nice even ground coat. If you start with it nice and even, you build up. If you don't have an even ground coat, it's never going to really look good until you really, it's just always going to look mottled, especially when you're spraying with candy. So this is going to be coat number 4, and it's the same exact spray, same exact overlap, and you'll see what that looks like. All right, we are back. Last coat is dry. This is going to be the 6th and final coat of candy. Then we're going to let this dry really good, and we'll put some 2K urethane clear over the top of that. So this is coat number 6. All right, guys, welcome back. That pretty much wraps this project up. I got 2 nice coats of 2K clear over the top of this, and I'll talk about that in a second. But we'll just give a quick little rundown again, just to reiterate what we did, and you can see how different really this poison green is in terms of just what we did for a ground coat. So we'll start at the very end here. This was our charcoal metallic, our Wicked Charcoal Metallic. And then right here, it's a little bit warmer in color. This is our metallic gold, our Wicked Metallic Gold. And then we have our coarse metallic white. And finally finishing off here, we have our silver sealer. So this is silver sealer right out of the bottle. So these 2 look a little similar, but there definitely is a difference in the brightness, and we'll try to get this outside. It's a little not perfectly represented in here in the booth, but we'll get this thing outside so you guys can see what it looks like in the sun. You really see that pop. But that's pretty much it, and you can see it really is a difference in the color. This is all the same color, just over a different ground coat. So you can really experiment and kind of think outside the box in terms of what you can do to shift the color of the candies instead of just mixing candies, actually change the color of the candy. So We talked about that, we talked about the colors, we talked about the candy, and now I just want to really quickly touch on what I did for the 2K clear coat over this. If you've seen a lot of our videos, we do always recommend, or at least I recommend PPG products. I've sprayed PPG for a number of years and really happy with the performance, and I won't really recommend anything that I haven't sprayed in terms of a test and see how it looks, not only while I'm spraying it, but how does it look the next day? How does it look in a couple days? And how does it sand and buff? And how is this the product spray in terms of consistency? And we got a couple samples of this from actually our friends down at Spray Gunner. And this is a product called American Icon. And this is their flagship clear coat that they have. It's the C800 Icon Clear. And actually very impressed with how this product leveled and how this product sprayed. This is 2 nice coats, and I mean, it really flowed out extremely well, and it looks crisp today. I sprayed this yesterday, I let it dry overnight. It still looks just as clear and crisp as I sprayed it right out of the gun yesterday. So I'm very impressed so far with this product. It's a 2-to-1, so there's no reduction. You have a couple different hardeners that you can put between fast, medium, and slow. For the size of this project, I use the medium hardener. I really don't recommend using a fast hardener with a water-based paint. You need that extra time for that material to flow and kind of bite into the ground coat or the base coat that you're spraying. So really impressed with this. This is really cool stuff. And actually the price point of this, we do get a lot of questions all the time on our pages and our YouTube channel when we recommend PPG. Some people are like, well, for the size of the project that I'm doing, I really can't warrant, buying a gallon or spending that kind of money on a product. And I mean, I recommend PPG because I know what you're going to get. But for this, I'm really impressed, and the price point of this product is fantastic. It's a very middle of the road price point, and you can get it in quart sizes, which is also convenient. So that's always a plus, especially when you're doing something smaller and you don't really want to buy a massive amount of clear and then have it sitting on your shelf for a while. So I'm going to wrap that up, and we will get this outside, do a final shot. So we'll see you guys in a minute. All right, guys, we are outside. We managed to grab a little bit of sunlight here, and it's a little windy, so you're going to have to bear with me. But this is just really quick outside. I think a big difference in the booth lighting and what you're seeing. So silver sealer, 6013 silver sealer, coarse metallic white, our metallic gold, and our metallic charcoal. So again, I think it just really kind of shows how much you can change this color with just that ground coat. So this is all poison green over those. So for Createx Colors, I'm Chris Arpin, and we'll see you guys next time.